been working on a few web connectors for a specific use case which customers had, which is to like enrich like private data with real-time search. Um, and I looked at the state of web search for like these Gen AI use cases, and there are different categories here, where you have like traditional web search engines, which is like your Brave, DuckDuckGo, Google Search, Bing, and just like giving you like list of 10 results, URLs, titles, and descriptions. That's your traditional search. And there's this AI-powered search retrieval tools, which is like Perplexity, Search GPT, Gemini grounded with Google Search, and whatnot, right? And the key difference here is they give you like a summary. They do the research in the background and give you like a text artifact, and like you can also like get links on top of that. And there are like other products which does this as well, like Dexa and Tably. But the key difference here is how do you now leverage this for your private data, right? And the question could also be like, hey, why can't I just go and search manually? Why is this required in conjunction with PromptQL as well? Right, so the key use cases are, of course, you have like your private data in databases like Snowflake, BigQuery, Mongo, all of these big data sets, and you want to like ground it with real-time data with the search. Um, Sales team productivity as well, where you have Salesforce data, lots of leads and the company and people data, and you want to like enrich that with people or company search in real time, get their social profiles, update it back, and whatnot. So that is another use case that we've seen. And of course, outside of this, just generic research about a particular topic and theme. And because you have access to this Python runtime, it unlocks a lot of these use cases and like reporting and exporting CSVs and whatnot. And of course, the final use case is like, hey, how do I now use this data and then update it back into my private data, especially with the Salesforce context where I might want to just update a field in Salesforce with real-time LinkedIn social profile of a particular lead. So those are the four key use cases that I've bucketed into. Just quickly jumping into the demo, um, I've connected three search products here: Brave Search, Gemini grounded with Google Search, and then of course there's Perplexity. Um, and you can like bring DuckDuckGo or any of these combination of these providers. And here's a simple question like, hey, who's the head of sales at company? And just going to go with Hasura. Um, this is a typical question that you would ask with your Salesforce data, where you would actually have a particular company or account that you're dealing with, and then you want to understand who's the decision maker in the company, or who is the CXO or CFO and whatnot. So you want to like get that information in real time. You could obviously do a Google search, but then you have this private data from Salesforce with all these account information and the leads coming in, and then you just want to like understand what the next steps are, and you have to like do searches across multiple sources, especially with larger companies. Head of sales could mean different things, different titles and whatnot. So this does this. So it uses Gemini to get the initial information. It cross-verifies with Brave Search as well, and uses Perplexity for final verification. Um, Different results from different providers. Gemini, of course, the most accurate one, has the latest data as well. Brave search results is just does a search with a keyword and gives you like 10 URLs and titles and descriptions. So it can like summarize and extract this data from here. And you have Perplexity will also summarize this information. Pretty similar to Gemini, but then the key difference is their API uses an inferior model, inferior sonar model, which they call, which is different from their UI, which is a interesting observation. So now you could like follow up with, hey, give me Suku and maybe on my social profiles, especially LinkedIn, right? So again, now it'll do another follow up to actually get this information. You could have asked this in the previous example as well. Now, once you have this information retrieved, you can now use this to like update your Salesforce data to say, hey, I have this particular information which is in real time, and I'm just updated update a field in Salesforce with that specific information. So let's wait for a couple of these executions, and I'll have another example to go over as well pretty quickly. So you have 3 artifacts created. So you got the quick summary, LinkedIn, and social profiles for both these folks, and already following them. So let me do another quick chat. This time, more of a theoretical theme, which is I'm going to copy this question again to rerun this. Search for latest benchmarks related to enterprise AI, specifically looking at this particular archive site, which is known for the research papers around this. So I'm going to use a combination of these web search results, and it's going to give me a summary of what the latest benchmarks are around enterprise AI. This has been an internal use case for us as well, to understand what the state of the art, which benchmarks should be run, especially with enterprise data, and then and get a hang of these, right? So you have a couple of artifacts created. So you have, in fact, this is Feb 2025, which is the latest data. So we have a bunch of text to SQL, Spider 2, which is a pretty industry standard. You have all of this data. Now you can obviously export this CSV, work on this, and maybe even do some navigation with your browser agent. So that's the use case. Pretty interesting to see how customers are using this. Yeah, and I have written a simple blog post around this with all the links to these different connectors. So do check them out. I'll post this on chat as well. But yeah, that's mostly my demo.
Awesome, Praveen. Really great to see that we can actually start to reach out to the web and provide that context and anything that we're doing with PromptQL as well. I like the idea of being able to kind of update things within the within Salesforce, wherever it may be, based on information found on the web. I'm curious, how do you think this will perform or make things easier for a user at scale? So obviously you had Suku and Tanmai, but can you just speak a little bit to how that would expand if it was a much larger number of people?
Yeah, no, we've tried this with large companies where, of course, I said the role name for a particular position could be different. Head of sales could mean VP of sales, or different titles, right? And for these ambiguous results, these web search results are really good because it can retry with different variations of these keywords, and then at scale it can just, and because our PromptQL has a planning and execution step, it plans for these different variations of these queries and then gets you back this data. Maybe you can just go for a quick coffee and then get back all of this data and then update your Salesforce data with that. So, which is much better than you spending 1 hour researching on web and getting frustrated. So,
yeah, awesome. Especially when I have trouble with every coffee maker figuring out how it works. So, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, man.